It might seem like the housing market is inflated or is overpriced, but in actuality, the changes in price that have happened in the last 18 to 24 months might simply be the market playing catch up. And there's a good article we'll get into in a minute, but as an example, this compound interest calculator shows where property values may actually just be catching up to a moderate increase in value. Let's suppose that you had a house that in 2008 was worth $300,000. And in 2008, we were just coming out of the housing crash, and $300,000 was about the median price of a house. An average house was about $300,000. There were plenty of houses in the hundreds and 200s, and there were some houses in the fours and fives, but a $300,000 house was a pretty significant house, but it wasn't top of the line. So let's say that was 2008, would have been about 14 years ago, that the property value went up 5% per year, estimated interest rate, let's say 5% per year, compounded annually. That same house, if it went up 5% a year for 14 years, would have a current value of almost $600,000, basically a double. So in 14 years, if you go up 5%, you double the value of your house. The house is $600,000. Well, here's the thing. Look at a house that was $300,000 in 2008. It might not even be at $600,000 yet. It might be at 5, might be at 520, might be at 480, depending on the market you're in. And that might seem like a big jump. But in reality, what happened was not so much that the house went up in the last 2 years, it may have been artificially depressed for the first 10 years, from maybe 2008 to 2018. Because what happened was, after the 2008 housing crash, people were very gun shy about houses. A lot of people were foreclosed out of the market. They were scared of buying property because of people that they knew that had they got upside down in their house, or that were not able to sell their house because their mortgage was too high. And people were scared of the market, so the price didn't go up that much from 2008 to 2015 or 16, and prices started to gradually drift up about 5% a year from that point. The problem is that pain memory of the 2005, 6, and 7 housing crash kept a lot of people from putting a lot of money into the real estate market. So it was artificially depressed. The prices didn't go up that much. And then in 2018, there started to be a little bit opening up in the market, and it jumped up a little bit. Maybe that 300 house was up at 350 at that point, 360 maybe. And you might think, well, that's a 20% increase. 360, that's a big jump. It's not really that big a jump if you count all the years that it didn't go up that 5%. Now all of a sudden, you get into 2020, and you have a completely different fundamental shift of how real estate and properties are looked at. Not only are you going to play catch up and get to that 600,000 value, but you're also now going to say, well, the use of a house that was contemplated in 2008 is different now in 2022. People are looking at their house as their castle. They're not looking to move around a lot. They're not looking to be outside the house as much. They're not going out to eat as much, going to the movies as much, traveling as much. So their house is much more important, and people that may not have considered it, they want to get them a house. So inflation, yeah, that may be a part of it, rising inflation. But you know what? Even if inflation is only 5% or the price went up 5%, it's still going to get you to 600,000 on a 300 house. So any increase in inflation in 2020, even if inflation was 10%, that's only 1 year's worth. However, now there's a shift to a new use of a house. 2015, there was a lower net earnings, which eliminated the incentive to move and left Americans in stagnant towns. Fast forward to present day, the U.S. economy recovers, rents are rising, but there's another geographic pattern. People are moving to places where they want to be rather than where they have to be. There are places like Nashville, Tennessee, going through the roof. Idaho, prices are more than double in the last 10 years. These are skewing the numbers and putting people in places where the prices of houses aren't even in line what they were 4 or 5 years ago, because the use of the house is fundamentally different. The thinking about how that house is a part of their life is different. If you take somebody who would spend even $50 a day on eating out, cut that in half, $25 a day eating out. Doesn't seem like a lot of money, but if you eat out 20 days a month, that's $500 a month eating out as a budget, and that's a low budget. If you take that that $500, put it towards a mortgage on a bigger house, that's like an extra $100,000 worth of house. If you take entertainment, another $300-400 a month, movies, concerts, a gym, all of a sudden you have an extra $1,000 a month in your budget. That gives you an extra $200,000 of buying power, which is part of what that fundamental shift is. And according to Bloomberg, this is long-lasting implications for the U.S. economy. We expect that houses are going to be looked at much differently than they have been in the last 20, 30 years. The percentage of income that people want to spend is going to be higher. And there's going to be a catch-up from that jump in price that didn't happen from 2008 to 2015 or 16. That's going to play catch-up and then some on top of that, where that house that was $300,000 in 2008 might be $650 in 2023.